Good evening. For decades, Manchester trains have felt like a world apart from our buses and trams, fragmented, confusing, and often overpriced. But the countdown is officially on. We're now less than a year away from the biggest shake-up of our local railways in generations. Tonight we're going to look at the B Network's move to take over the tracks. While the vision is bold, we must look at the foundation it is built on. Much of our network is still the bears and the scars of the 1960s beaching cuts. Take Denton and Reddish South. As an ultimate examples, these stations are kept alive by ghost trains. The bare minimum service, often once a week, required to avoid the legal red tape of formal closure. They do this by running the rest with a bus. The Denton line now is kept open for freight, and the West Coast excursion tours, which is for those that don't know, the steam trains that run on the network. They use the Denton line for the freight to cut between the two to keep it away from the main of the railway network, as well as use the Denton line to regulate the freight traffic, with freight trains can be sat on that line and not interfere with anything that's going on with the network. The West Coast services, they use that line, especially Denton Station, to take on water and coal. This is ideal for them, as Denton Station, although not being anywhere near Denton, has perfect road networks for them to be able to park up tankers and dumpers to enable the trains to take on water and coal at the station. While sat there, they're not interfering with the day-to-day running of the railway line or anything else of that matter. So Network Rail keep that line in good stead for them services. The challenge that is here is they want to create a London-style network which is truly functional when key stations are located far from the town centres, served with tracks that prioritise heavy freight over the commuting frequency. Well, it's one of them. Denton Station has been closed for years. It's there, but not really there. So Andy Burnham's goal is to strip away the big operator, fill the brands of like Northern, and bring the 96 stations under the B Network's yellow banner by 2030. Phase 1 of the plan should be happening by December the 13th, 2026, so later this year. The Glossop and Staler Bridge lines will be the first to go yellow. His words. As of late 2025, the fares have already been simplified to anytime and off-peak, paving the way for the tapping system. The tapping translation, the B Network is set to become a one-stop shop for travel by summer 2026. It will finally show real-time train data alongside buses. The goal is the daily price cap. But cross-boundary journeys like those from Glossop to that crosses into Derbyshire remain a bit of a sticking point. This is because many of our services, like our 237, 236, 341, and the trains, cross from Greater Manchester into Derbyshire, where Derbyshire's local council have the fare system. This fare system has been very complicated. As soon as you cross the back border, you have to have a B line, and there's about 3 different versions of B line, and the fare is more until you get to Greater Manchester, then it goes down. It's confusing. Can he make that simple? In London, the tapping requires a small army of revenue protectors officers to stop fraud. You can see this on the TV in the fare dodgers, or they have to employ them to trace them down and catch them. Can Greater Manchester actually afford this extra layer of policing with the additional fees, or will the additional fees fall back to the taxpayer? It's a good question, really, as London has payouts, although they're not payouts for legal reasons, that support and bail the London TfL system out every year. They lose a lot of money in the tap in, tap out through people not being honest, aka fraud. Tapping in short, tapping in not at all, or just completely fooling the system. That's a big army. And I know we already have our B Network army that protects the revenue on the buses. But the buses are a different breed. It's easier to protect the revenue on a bus than a train. A train arrives in the station, you don't know where that person got on or off. So, it's going to be interesting. Unlike the buses, where TfGM now owns, I believe they own the buses, the depots, they own everything. Or the infrastructure that goes with running the buses. The tracks and stations, as far as I believe, belong to Network Rail. For example, if a signal fails, the mayor will have no authority over anything. If a station has an issue, will he actually have any authority to fix the station? Or will that remain down to Network Rail and him pleading on the phone with Network Rail to go and fix the station? I don't think he has the money, like he did with the buses, to try and buy all the infrastructure off Network Rail. As well as a lot of infrastructure is shared. So that would be an impractical solution. So he's going to have to work alongside Network Rail in order to fulfill this goal. And is it going to work? So while Andy Burnham is pushing for the statutory powers to co-manage the stations, he's currently a partner, not the owner. We must ask, are we building the world-class system on top of the 19th century infrastructure that the local authority doesn't even control? Or are we moving into the 21st century that it's going to be improved upon? And they're going to work together to provide a brilliant system that will work, learning from any mistakes that TfL have made along their journey of making their system. It is an interesting question. So, is the mayor actually moving too fast? There is a risk of that. Like London's TfL, the B Network may require annual taxpayers' bailouts to stay afloat. It's a noble ambition to keep the lower fares and integral the ghost trains of Denton into the modern era, but the yellow livery might be the easiest part of a very difficult journey, as well as a very expensive part of the journey, as everything has to be repainted. So I have a few questions for you to finish up with. Is the ghost trains conundrum. We see the success of the B Network buses, but those run on our roads. How does the mayor plan to integrate ghost stations like Denton, Reddish South, where the tracks they sit on are prioritised for freight and steam charters? Can a once-a-week service even truly be part of the London-style network? Accountability Andy Burnham will soon put his B Network brand onto trains, but Network Rail will still own the tracks, the signals, and if a signal fails at Piccadilly causing a morning of chaos, who's actually accountable? Is the mayor taking on the credit for the branding without the power to fix the infrastructure? Now, I'll leave that one up to you, but I think that's quite a good question. There's much the mayor won't be able to control, maybe. And if bad things happen, who's to blame? Network Rail or the B Network? The price of the tap-in technology in London's ISIS system requires hundreds of millions of revenue protection to stop fare evasion. As we move into the tap-in, tap-out on the Glossop and Staley Bridge lines in this December, I believe, who's paying for the extra security? Will the cost of policing the new style system eventually lead to the higher council taxes or fare hikes for the very people it is meant to help? And lastly, with the Glossop line crossing into Derbyshire, we are still seeing the confusion over where the B network ends and the National Rail begins. Can we truly call this an integrated system if passengers' daily cap falls the moment they cross into an invisible county line? Now, this is something I will just build upon this question from when I actually wrote it. It's something we'll have to wait and see whether Derbyshire County Council will allow the fare cap to continue into their boundary, and if you're in Glossop, be able to buy a Greater Manchester ticket without actually being in Greater Manchester. It's something we'll have to wait and see.